Welcome to the Middleware Tech YouTube channel. In this series, you'll learn about Hibernate Introduction. All code examples used in the videos will be available on GitHub. Let's get started.
So ORM. ORM full name is Object Relational Mapping. ORM full name is Object Relational Mapping. Okay. So when talking about object means I'm talking about Java object. When talking about object means here, since we are talking about Hibernate from Java point of view, so I'm talking about here Java object. So Java object means from an EMP class object, let's see, I have one EMP class employee, and assume inside this EMP class I have three instance variable like int EMP ID, string EMP name, and string EMP email. So this is the three instance variables we have. Three instance variable we have inside the employee class. Three instance variable, fine. And we have getter setters, assume it's a bean class. So we have getter setters and instance variable private type. So assume this is a simple bean class. This is a simple class. I'm not in full structure. So when talking about Java object, that means object of employee class, right? So that means object of employee class. That means what? Employee obj equal to new employee. That's it. Employee of object class. That I'm talking about Java object, right? That is object, Java object, right? Okay. Now I'm talking about relational. Next term is relational. So if I say relational, I want to mean relational database. Relational database. So relational database means that have some table and column concept. That is relational database, right? Right. So relational database means I'm talking about relational table. So assume I have one table here. Its table name. Table name is EMP. EMP is the table name. Fine. Okay. So inside that EMP table, I have some column. Inside this EMP table, I have some column like EMP ID, then EMP name, then EMP email. This is my table column, right? Okay. So here, right? Okay. Now inside this, assume I have an EMP ID 10. EMP name is Sreni, and EMP email is senior@gmail.com. Write one row. Okay. Similarly, I want to add another one row. Control C. Control V. Employee ID is 11, and employee name is Navin, and employee email is navin@gmail.com. Fine. Okay. Now here, this is a simple table, correct? Okay. Now I have created an employee class object. So let's create an employee class object. I'm creating Control C. I'm creating three objects. Fine. So first object contain employee ID 10, employee name Srini, employee email srini@gmail.com. Fine. Second object, going to create Control C, Control V, and he is 11. His name is Navin, and navin@gmail.com. Right? Okay. Now we are talking about object relational mapping. That means the mapping between this Java object and this table. Mapping between this Java object and the table. I'm talking about this mapping. Right? Okay. Okay. So this is my first object. This is my second object. Right? Okay. Now the thing is that object means Java object. This is an employee object. And table, relational means table. Table means this is an employee table. So what is this ORM, object relational mapping? I'm talking of what part? Object mapping is class name should map with the table name, and class instance variable name should map with the table column name. That is ORM. In Hibernate, I'm talking Hibernate support ORM. What is ORM? ORM means class name, Java object class name should map with the table name, and class instance variable name should map with the table column name. That's it. That is ORM. So if I want to say single line, what is ORM? Then I want to say that class name should map with table name and class instance variable name should map with table column name. Table column name. That's it. That is a single line definition of ORM. What is ORM? Now, why I'm doing ORM? What is the advantage? How to implement? I'm coming all the things one by one. Our first topic is that Hibernate support ORM. That means using Hibernate, we can implement this. Class name should map with the table name, and this is the idea behind ORM concept. So using Hibernate, I can save an object state into the database. Using Hibernate, I can save an object state in the database where it will support the concept of ORM, object relational mapping. And this is the definition of ORM. What part? Right? Anything else you want to add, anyone? This is what part. Why, how will come later. Anyone want to add any point? Okay. Okay, now, so this is the idea behind what is ORM. Fine. We can we have written the fourth point that Hibernate support ORM, object relational mapping. Next, if I'm using Hibernate today in the enterprise level application, another features important, I'm talking about just 2 to 3 important, that Hibernate support another features. Let me try to understand with an example. Another Hibernate features, we'll say. Support cache, right? That we can implement cache concept with the help of Hibernate, right? Okay. And the third and fourth next, another important point try to focus is that with the help of Hibernate, why Hibernate? If I'm going to implement Hibernate today for an enterprise level application, another advantage of using Hibernate, that using Hibernate we can implement our application as database independent. So we can write using Hibernate we can implement database independence. Now, what does it mean by this database independence? What does it mean? Just see this. What does it mean by database independence? Talking about database independence, what does it mean by this? Is an example. So assume some project is going on. It is a HDFC Life. Some of the participants are working in this project. HDFC Life Insurance I'm talking about. So this project still now it's going on, still now lots of things. So in this HDFC Life project, assume that project was they're interacting with the one database, this database, and they're using Oracle database, Oracle 12c. Assume. So if you're using Oracle 12c, and since it's just HDFC Life Insurance, assume initial phase, they're using for 1 year. HDFC Life Insurance. So they find that after 1 year the business is not going well. They want to reduce cost, so reduce license cost also. So after 1 year, they try to change the databases that use some open source database. We'll go for MySQL. So MySQL business is not going well, so they try to implement a next 2 year as MySQL. MySQL. So after that, they find that yes, HDFC Life Insurance, it is much more familiar in the so it got its own popularity, or based on whatever it is, and a huge amount of customer want to go for this option, HDFC Life Insurance. So after 2 years, they find that huge amount of was coming, and so information is too big, so it's hard to handle, and there is a lots of concept like analytics, big data, analytic implement, right, for the enterprise level application, right. So that it is not working. They need a cost effective as well as an application that can handle non-structured data very huge amount of. We can implement some concept of machine learning as well as some also we can implement. So your next 5 years to include another database called MongoDB. So what I want to say is that they are changing their database day by day based on the project, based on they're changing their database on the backend. So our application or project will be in such a way it can be scalable enough to the changes of future upgrade of databases, change of database, whatever it is. Our application should be scalable enough to implement different databases in future, right? So how we can implement that? we can implement using that is called database independence. Using Oracle 12c database. Tomorrow I'm using MySQL. Day after tomorrow I'm using Mongo. So my application such ways with the application to of right. So that is called database independence, right? So Hibernate support the concept of database independence with the help of one of the, its name is HQL. Hibernate have one concept, QL. HQL full language. Generally, what I'll do, I'll use SQL, right? What I'm using SQL. What I'm using here, SQL, right? Here, what I'm using SQL, right? So using whatever it is, SQL type. So different SQL as for Oracle, different SQL for SQL Server, different SQL for MySQL. Some SQL syntax are different. Okay, version of SQL also came, and that is called T-SQL. So assume we have the concept of T-SQL in case of SQL Server Microsoft. So SQL that you are going to use, that is that is very specific, dependent on a particular database. Hibernate came a concept called HQL. This is database dependent. So I'm talking about SQL. SQL is database dependent. Database dependent. Whereas Hibernate came with a concept called HQL. Full name is Hibernate Query Language, and it is database independent. HQL is database independent. It is database dependent. It is database independent. Right? Database independent. It's based on Java. It's a Java object. It's a Java object. Whereas SQL database object. So simply using this, it's a Java object. SQL Hibernate will implement the application of database. So whatever database you are going to use, if I have HQL, it's a Java. This HQL with any database. So you can make your application database independent with the using H. Whereas SQL is database dependent. Vendor have their syntax. So this database dependent. HQL is database independent because it's a Java object. Right? So Hibernate is use the concept of HQL to make database dependent. Do it. Now, how we can make it database independent, that how part will come with labs. I'm talking about and how why part, right? Okay. So we got another one features here called using Hibernate, we can implement database independence. Using Hibernate, we can implement database. Right? We got the idea? Okay. Right? So we got about Hibernate. Like it is used in the Dowlier. Gavin King first created Hibernate based on the limit and EJB because EJB is a platform. EJB is operating system dependent, whereas Hibernate is operating dependent. Right? Then we talked about Hibernate support the concept of persistence. Hibernate support the concept of cache and database. So I have used some of the common features that we generally used using Hibernate, and it has different versions. I'm not given the different versions. First, option is there like 3.x, 4.x, as well as x. Is there. Basically, most of the features, basics features you'll find with 3.x itself, but some of the features like support with MongoDB database came with 4.x versions, and lots of Java supports came with 5.x versions. So different implementation comes with different versions. So these are the versions generally used for Hibernate. So current version is 5.2 or 5.3. So we'll talk about all the features about 5.2 or 5.x versions, right? So this is the version point of view I want to say here. Okay, right now. Okay, let's see where we are.